I walk into the apartment in Cologne on a Wednesday evening, and the first thing I notice is the quality of the silence. Not the peaceful kind, the kind that happens when someone's been waiting. Marcus is standing at the kitchen counter, running his thumbnail along the edge of his phone, that particular tick he does when he's been anxious for hours. The second thing I notice is that the wooden box is gone. I don't move from the doorway. I just stand there with my duffel bag, still wearing the uniform from my drive from the base, and I look at where that box used to sit on the shelf above the credenza, the one I packed with my own hands before we moved to Germany. 12 years of medals, deployment commemoratives from Kosovo, the Meritorious Service Medal I received after coordinating logistics for a field hospital that saved 47 lives, the commendation from the Secretary of Defense, presented to exactly 300 women in my year. All of it in that box. "Where's the box, Marcus?" My voice sounds like someone else's, very steady, very far away. He doesn't look at me right away. That's how I know. That's the exact moment I know. "We needed to talk about money," he says. "The business is struggling more than I told you. We're close to... Where's the box?" I sold them. He finally looks at me, and there's this quality to his expression that I've come to recognize over the past year and a half. It's the look of someone who's made a unilateral decision about our shared life and is now trying to retrofit a justification around it. "I sold them to a military memorabilia dealer in Stuttgart. I know you're upset, but Sarah, we needed that money now. Those medals don't pay our mortgage." I set my duffel bag down very carefully. I take off my boots. I walk to the kitchen and pour myself a glass of water from the tap, and I drink it all while looking at him. His face is doing this thing where the skin is pulling tight around his jaw because he's waiting for me to explode. Everyone expects me to explode. 20 years in the military, woman in a leadership position, and everyone's got this very specific script about how I'm supposed to react, but I'm not going to explode. "How much did you get for them?" I ask. "Enough to buy us some time." "Sarah, I know this was wrong, but you weren't here to ask." "You're right. I wasn't here. I was in Stuttgart last week for a liaison meeting. I was exactly 3 kilometers from that dealer's shop, and I had no idea my life was being dismantled in real time." I sit down at the kitchen table. "How much, Marcus?" 12,000 euros. I nod. I nod and I feel something in my chest shift, like a door closing very quietly. Not slamming. Just closing with the soft certainty of a decision that's already made itself, without my conscious participation. "Okay," I say. "Thank you for telling me." He looks confused, which is fair. I sound like I'm thanking him for telling me where he put the good wine. You're not going to fight about this?" Would fighting change anything? Would my anger restore the medals? No, but... Then what would be the purpose? Marcus sits down across from me, and I can see his whole body relax slightly. He thinks he's gotten away with something. He thinks the worst is over. He thinks I'm being reasonable because I'm processing and accepting and moving forward like a functional adult who understands that marriage requires compromise. He has no idea what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking is I filed the divorce papers 2 months ago. What I'm thinking is they're sitting in a locked drawer at my colleague's apartment, 3 kilometers from here, and they're dated May 15th. What I'm thinking is, this moment right now is the exact moment I've been waiting for. Not this specific moment with the medals, but this moment where he confirms exactly what kind of person he's become. Because I needed confirmation. I needed to stop imagining it and start knowing it. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and I've spent 20 years in the German military making decisions that affect thousands of people. I've managed crises where a single miscalculation means someone doesn't come home. I've rebuilt logistic systems that were failing, negotiated with NATO partners, trained soldiers in procedure and protocol, and the decision-making that happens in the space between duty and disaster. What I haven't been very good at is knowing when to leave. But I'm very good at it now. The conversation moves forward in this strange, polite way that sometimes happens in marriages that are already dead, but just haven't been declared officially. Marcus tells me about the business, the retail venture that's been hemorrhaging money for 8 months, and I listen with this other part of my mind that's already somewhere else entirely. I'm thinking about the apartment lease, which is in both our names but which I can work with given what I have. I'm thinking about the car, which is technically his. I'm thinking about the joint account, which I've already transferred my personal savings out of. Not illegally, legally, with my own deposits, my own percentages, over the course of 6 months. Contingency planning, that's what we call it in the military. You don't assume things will go well. You assume they might fail, and you prepare accordingly. I think we should go to bed early, Marcus says, after we've been talking for maybe 20 minutes. You've had a long drive. Tomorrow we can figure out how to move forward. I imagine what he means by that. He means he'll do something else unilateral. He means there will be another, we need to talk about money conversation. And I'll find out that he's taken out a loan against something, or he's sold something else, or he's made another choice that affects both of us without consulting me. Because that's the pattern. That's been the pattern since about month 8 of his business venture. Actually, I say, I'm going to sleep in the guest room tonight. I want to do some work before bed. Reports from the base. He nods, relieved that I'm not demanding he sleep on the couch or making it a whole thing. He has no idea that I've been sleeping in the guest room for the past 4 months whenever I'm here, and that the only reason he hasn't noticed is because I come home so infrequently now. Last month I was in Brussels. The month before, Hamburg. The month before that, a training exercise in the Netherlands. I've been arranging my life like someone who's already left.